Okay, so meanwhile that's going, I'm going to show you how to store it. Now, you could store it, I've done a couple of, over the last 2 months that I've been making, or 3 months now that I'm making food, I've stored it in a lot of different ways, and this seems to be the best way, but then it has its downside. So, I bought these little trays at IKEA. They're from IKEA. They were $1 each. You could use traditional trays like those ones, the white ones, or whatever color you have. It's up to you. So, let's see if I can put this. So basically what I do, and normally straight from the blender this probably will work better because once you have the food laying out a little bit it kind of sets. So you're probably not going to be able to fill each one, but you just fill your food into the ice cube tray. So the hard part is once they freeze, probably want to be a little bit neater too because this is all going to freeze. What is this? This is peas. So for each feeding I use about 2, depending on how much I want to give the baby, but I use about 2 ice cubes of food so that have been stored, and I store them in these bags. They're just freezer bags, but that's once they've been frozen. So that's one of them, and you basically just put it in the freezer. It takes about 4 to 6 hours for it to freeze, and when they're done freezing you can, oh, and then I label them. Really horrible way. Well, I usually put a piece of tape right here and I mark with a marker what it is. I'm gonna have to tape, but this was around, so I'm just gonna put peas. I basically just need something to stay on there. When it freezes, it'll stay. So label it. See the label. Where's the? It says peas. Can't really tell, but it does. And put it in the freezer. So I'm just gonna do this one. Meanwhile, the apples are still steaming. So you do that for all your food. When they're done freezing, you just put them in freezer bags, and it's less space in the fridge. There's one more other way that I do it that is not as effective, but I'm going to show you anyways, because I did it like that for a while. Okay, so IKEA has these little Tupperware things too. I know a lot of people use them for storage, so I also use that. I'm gonna put some things in there. And when I'm ready to defrost this, I put it in the refrigerator the night before or the early in the morning, depending on when I'm going to feed her. It's probably too much. And I basically defrost it and I keep it in the refrigerator for maybe 3 to 5 days, depending on how much I use it. So this one I probably use over 2 or 3 days. So I just take out a little bit of what I need for the meal, and I usually put them in these little bowls that you've seen that I got from IKEA too. And then I just like put her stuff, heat it up or whatever, and then put this back in the fridge once I defrosted it. But once you defrost it, you can't refreeze it. So you have to use it. So whatever you take out, that's what you're going to use in the next couple of days. So she's going to have mangoes for 2 days straight, but that's Madeline's favorite, so she doesn't care. And then I'll put that in the freezer. So those are the 2 ways that I store things. It kind of depends on how much space you have in your freezer and how much time you have to do all this stuff, because this takes forever. You could pour it, but for some reason pouring it makes more of a mess for me. I'm too clumsy. Or maybe, was this mango? I don't remember what this was. Corn? Oh, this is mango. Okay. So let's check on the apples. So the apples have gone more steamed. They're a lot softer. So with the fork, you're just gonna, or with the knife, a lot softer. You want them to be just like really soft, almost mushy. You're just gonna cut right through. So this is probably the best way you want them. You're gonna have this like tint to them, like they've been steaming for a while. So I'm gonna leave them in there for about another minute, and then I'm gonna take them out. You just want them nice and soft, and you'll know when you do this yourself. Another minute. Meanwhile, I just fill these little things. Yeah, so definitely have planned to do this for about 2 hours at the most, because not only does it take time to cook, unless you decide to cut it up and like maybe one day do one thing, another day do another thing, and then of course depending on what you cook, that takes time too, so it's kind of hard. Bananas, I'm gonna put some bananas in here. The bananas are, once they sit even inside the freezer, they're gonna turn like a brown color, so you're gonna wanna, don't worry, even when you take them out, they're gonna be like slightly brown. That's just normal. Don't freak out like, oh my god, it went old. No, it doesn't. It's just, I don't know, whatever chemical crap happens. Okay, I'm gonna put that in the freezer. Okay, so let's check on the apples now. They should be pretty much ready. So, they're all looking pretty brown, a little bit more brown now. So I'm going to take them out. Let's see, I don't know how I'm going to see if you can see from there. You could kind of see from there. Kinda. So I'm going to take them out. It's getting a little bit hot. Take them out. Put them in the blender. Vitamix. This blender was $500. We bought it at the fair. And I hated Winfred for buying it, but now it's my best friend. So now I don't hate him for buying it. I thought it was a silly investment, but this is the best blender on the market. It's even better than the Ninja, but if you're the Ninja, then fine. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but it's my favorite. So, turn it on. Just bring this over. Oops. So turn on your Vitamix. And it's going to go. And bring it up to a 3 or 4. Measure water. And use the little thing. This is pure applesauce. I'm going to just run it. It's at 4 right now. Pretty applesaucey, homemade applesauce, which is the best for baby. So I'm just gonna try it. Make sure your consistency is what you want it to be. I don't add any salt, sugar, or anything to my food, but I know a lot of moms that add like cinnamon and like nutmeg and stuff, and with applesauce I think you can do that, so it's up to you if you want to add that to it. I would just sprinkle a little bit on top, and then if you want to add to give it some flavor. So that's how I make applesauce. It's going to go straight into the trays. I'm kind of mixing up the food. I probably shouldn't. So, and I'm bad at filming and doing this at the same time. But Madeline loves it. So that's 3 apples, and you get probably about a tray and a half full. Depending on if you use the long trays. I don't know about the long trays. You probably get maybe a whole tray full of apples. So it's up to you. But there's my video. I know it's long. I'm sorry. So now you should be able to start your happy baby food making. Always make your food depending on your baby, how much they need it extra mashed, or maybe as they get older and they want more chunks, then do it more chunky. Yeah, so if you have any questions, just Facebook me or text me.